Hails and horns, everybody. Welcome back to The Abyss. I'm at Segala, and today I got an album review for you. We're going to check this beast out right here, so let's go. Alright, everybody, like I said, doing an album review for you today, and we're going to follow my standard procedures for that. Rate everything from guitars, drums, vocals, artwork, all that kind of stuff on a pentagram scale, 1 to 5, and find out where it sits between 1 pentagram, not so good, 5 pentagrams, it is the perfect album. So let's see where this thing lands. And today I got something for you all the way from Portugal, and this is the Blackness Within. Alright, so you kind of got a little taste there with that quick clip. Kind of see what you're in for with this record. A lot of awesome, vile, just hateful black and death metal. But please don't think that this is a one-trick pony by any means. Lots of different musical styles that you wouldn't expect rolled into this thing. Make it a truly unique release for last year. Huge shout out to Nuno. He's the man behind the band, and I really hope I say this right. Like I said, this band is from Portugal. SALQIU, I believe is how you pronounce that. There you go. Again, sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I am terrible with that kind of stuff. But SALQIU, the Blackness Within. Let's tear this thing apart and see what it's all about. Alright, so the first thing I want to break down, the album art. This is a digital copy that I own. Did not get the physical. I do own other albums from this project, so let's kind of dive into it. I'm going to throw it up on the screen here and we'll kind of talk about it a little bit more. Alright, so you can see there, it's simple, yet pretty powerful. You got the hands, kind of up in the air. It looks like it's, something angry, maybe despair, fear, something. It's kind of hard to tell. And I kind of like that. It's open to your own interpretation. To me, it's like almost like somebody bracing for something difficult, something like that. And then, again, that's the beauty of it, in my opinion. It's simple. You can interpret it however you want. And I think it's a pretty cool logo. So, just going off of that, I think that's worth 3 pentagrams. It's simple, but it's powerful and open for interpretation, which everything on this album is. So let's go check out the guitars. All right, so let's talk a bit about the guitars. The guitars are one of the more versatile aspects to this album. You saw from that clip there, they can be very gritty, grimy, very thick atmosphere layered down with the guitars. Almost a noise element at times, very raw and just very far out there. So it'll go from a polished tremolo into a grind noise sound and then blow you away by jumping into a classic clean guitar, classical style. You'll pick up elements of what seems to be older prog rock. You'll pick up elements of classic rock, black metal, death metal. There's a lot of avant-garde black metal, experimental black metal going on here. Just really well done. And for the most part, the guitars are very raw, grindy, gritty, and just visceral as hell. Definitely a step up from SALQIU's previous albums in terms of intensity. This album really just leaps this band into the future, like light years into the future in terms of how heavy and fast they are. And the guitars are a big part of that. And to me, the most enjoyable part of the album was the guitars. And for me, I'm going to give that 4 pentagrams because I enjoy the guitar work that much. Not a whole lot you can say. There's so much talent in there. And I know he had a couple guest artists do a couple guitar solos and things like that. But the bulk of the guitars, very much raw, black and death. Awesome stuff. There's a few memorable riffs in there, here and there, that you need to, really appreciate and give it a listen. So yeah, 4 pentagrams on the guitars. Let's check out the drums. Alright, so when talking about the drums, I don't feel that they hurt the sound at all. And they do complement it quite well. But the only problem I have with this album is in the drums. They sound very processed, very compressed. I'm not sure if it's the programming or something like that, or triggers or what have you, as sometimes the drums can sound quite compressed. That aside, in terms of the beats, the fills, and everything, and the actual layout of the drums, timing and everything. Feel matches the music perfectly. Almost adds a whirlwind effect behind the guitars, just with how fast and pummeling they are. Kind of adds another layer of the atmosphere, just thickens it up a bit, and really complements the vocals and the guitars quite well. Again, very well done. Awesome fills, blasts, all that stuff, top notch. My only complaint there is that they do feel a little compressed, processed, or artificial at times. Not a whole lot you can complain about there. I mean, it just sounds fantastic in my opinion, but at times you can kind of hear that kind of processed sound. So that's the only thing that really drags down the score on the drums. I'm going to give that a 2.5, not because of the execution, but just because the overall, again, artificial processed sound to them, but very solid still. The grooves are awesome. The beats are awesome. Again, for me, it just comes down to the ear test. If you isolate them, they just sound a little compressed, in my opinion, but I'm one person. They still sound good in the overall mix, so 2.5 for the drums. All right, so we've talked about artwork, we've talked about drums, guitars. Now let's talk about the vocals a little bit. I enjoyed the vocals a lot. I put the guitars at a 4 out of 5 because I enjoyed them that much, and the vocals were almost that level for me as well, which really catapult the sound of this record to a whole new level compared to previous albums. I'll use this one as an example. I believe this is the first full length that SALQIU put out, and it's To Whom It Serves the Triumphant Destiny. And that is a killer record. Highly recommend you go and checking that out on his Bandcamp page. I will link that up in the description below. Just fantastic, experimental, heavy, killer stuff. And actually, this album was something I picked up from him personally. I met him on Black Metal Amino a good ways back. He's one of the OGs of Black Metal Amino, so that's pretty awesome. And he actually had some contributions from other members, when writing and that kind of stuff. But really cool stuff. Anyway, kind of got off track. You talk about the evolution from this record to this. There's just a whole nother layer of thick, dark, grimy, raw atmosphere that the vocals add. Almost ghostly at times, kind of dark, demonic, just really crunchy, vile vocals. I mean, there's a haunting, ghostly effect, like I said. I guess I could compare, some of the Demon Sea albums, that deep, like raspy, kind of raw, but ghostly vocals. It kind of all wraps in there, adds a layer of atmosphere, that cave effect, if you will. Yeah, so extremely well done. 3.5 pentagrams I'm going to go with on the vocals. Much better. Much improved over previous albums, I believe. Not that those are bad. I just think this one got kicked up a notch. So awesome effort on the vocals. All right, so with that breakdown being said, my final thoughts. I thought it was an extremely good album from a very talented musician and an awesome project in SALQIU, sorry. I struggle with that name, and I do apologize, Nuno, buddy, but awesome record, dude. Thank you so much for, hitting me up about the new album. Unfortunately, I was lazy, didn't get this in my collection until, my end of year list was being constructed, but otherwise this album probably would have fallen in the top 10, around in that area somewhere. It's that good to me. Much better than some of the the big AAA releases of the year, but the Blackness Within is a very solid record. It's dark, it's raw, it's nasty, it's very, very intense, thick atmosphere, like I said. And again, just so many different styles that you can pick up on if you really listen. With the classical rock, there's jazz parts that you can pick out in there. There's just blistering black and death metal, cool black metal riffs and vocal patterns, and just awesome stuff. The effects on the album are very well placed. I know it kind of seems like I kind of dissed the drums. I only lowered it again because the slightly artificial sound at times, but if you take that away, I mean, there's nothing wrong. I mean, the drums, don't get me wrong, very good. So I don't want that to come off kind of wrong. But honestly, so on my scale of 1 to 5, 1's kind of very poor. 2, you're mediocre to average. 3 is very well above average in my opinion. 4 is near perfection. 5 is perfection. It is like the holy grail album. Don't know if I'll ever get that high on a rating, but we'll see. I'm going to put this one with everything together probably around, well, if I do the actual math, it's 3.25. So higher than, average for sure. It's a much better than average record, which average and mediocre kind of being at the 2 mark. 3.5 being, catapulting towards perfection. So I think it's well placed at 3.25. We'll put it right there. Solid, amazing effort. I can't wait to hear what Nuno comes up with SALQIU in the future. I hope this review kind of turned you on to something new. Stay tuned. I will be playing a clip with some artwork after this, immediately following this. So yeah, enjoy. If you're interested, I'm going to link up his Bandcamp. Go check out his other albums. You might find something you really like. Nothing but support for SALQIU from Portugal. I'm Azag. Enjoy this track.